Hello everyone, welcome back to Senegalese Twisted. Today I'm back again with another review for Maîtresse d'un homme marié, and today I'm going to talk about episode 31. Episode 31 starts off with Yolande and Ben questioning Mam Binta about when she saw Yolande last. When she last saw Yolande. And they ask her so many questions. It's quite overwhelming because a lot is happening. And Mam Binta tells her that it was in front of the school where they parted ways and Yolande was supposed to go to their dad's. And that was at 1 in front of the school. Ben is actually calling Taihu 2.0, but he doesn't pick up, so she's also agitated. And in this scene, I was mostly thinking about, wouldn't it be better if it was Tairu calling Yolande and Ben to ask about where Yolande is? Anyway, so then we see that Yolande actually walks in casually, but she's crying. Her clothing is ripped and some of her braids are out. After Yolande walks in, both Yolande and Ben ask her like questions like, where were you? Were you attacked? Please talk to us. Because Yolande doesn't say anything, so Mam Binta is leading. She is like telling her mom like, Mom, it is ping. And then Yolande says something, but Mam Binta is like, please tell the truth. I know he was your boyfriend or something. And Ben is like, boyfriend at 12? That's crazy. And then Yolande starts to talk about Ping. She was like, yes, since you and dad had your big fight, he has been giving me some advice. But at one point I told him I didn't want to do this anymore. But he kept sending me messages, calling me, and basically stalking me. And when I was out of school at 1 today, he grabbed me, threw me in the car, and took me to his house. But as soon as she says this, Ben goes off. She is screaming that, I told you, you don't listen, and now this kid is ruined. So Ben asks her directly like, what happened when you went to his house? Did he touch you? Did he do worse to you? Did he attack you? What happened? Yolande asks Ben to stop. Mam Binta asks Ben to let Yolande explain it for herself. But Ben is like, what explaining does she have to do? Her clothing is ripped. Look at her state. He brought her to his house. Like, we can all imagine what happened there. Yolande tells Ben to be careful and to let Yolande, change her clothing, shower, etc. But Ben is like, oh, hell no. She is not going to shower. She is not going to take off her clothes. But then Yolande screams like, Auntie, I didn't do anything. And she explains that he took her to his house, that he kind of like attacked her, but then she talked to him and he basically regretted it and let her go. Ben was like, well, child, you are powerful. She's like, do you know where he lives? And let's go to the police. Then they're all seated, Ben, Yolande, and the twins. Ben is mostly just talking to herself but out loud, and she's saying that, from now on, everywhere you go, I will be there with you. She even says that, what, if you guys go to school, I will sit in the classroom with you, so that at all times there are eyes on you and I know that you are safe. And I think that in this scene, it's mostly about Ben, because we all remember at the beginning, she did not like the twins and the twins did not like her. But now she is kind of realizing how much the twins mean to her. Then we are at Seneginja and we see how Salif is talking to his friend who actually was interested in buying some of the aquatic apartments. He's basically selling the whole experience to his friend. At the end, he's even telling his friend that, what, we actually have this new project coming up, but we can talk about that later. And then he says something and is like, right, Birame? But Birame does not address Salif here. And he even tells him that, you know what, if I would address you right now, you would get what you wanted, so I'm not gonna give it to you. So he dismisses Salif completely. And when the friend leaves and it's only Salif and Birame, Salif asks Birame like, when are you going to treat me normally? When Salif leaves, Rocky comes in, and Rocky is telling Birame that, you know what, she looked at everything but she cannot find it. Rocky is trying to ask herself out loud like, who could, you know, want to ruin you? Rocky does mention the sale of the Aquanic project. However, she doesn't see how it makes any sense. He's like, Salif. Rocky's like, why would it be Salif? And he's like, because I showed him my bad side. Angelica was a bit worried because when they left, they did not close the door. And she does try to ask Yolande how she's doing and tries to touch her. And I don't know who told her to touch the poor child, but that's not what you do to someone who just got attacked. Anyhow, Yolande slaps away her arm and storms off. And then Jalika tells Mom Binta that she needs to join her sister because this is a crucial time for her and that she needs her sister by her side. And she needs all the support that she can have. When both the twins are gone, Tairu is telling Jalika that this is all his fault. That all the wrong choices he made are now being reflected upon his children. Jalika tells him that, you know what, if this was supposed to happen, it would have happened no matter what choice you had made. And she says that this is destiny, it was supposed to happen, that there is no need for him to feel guilty, and that now this is also not what Yolande needs. Yolande needs her father to be strong instead of feeling that it is his fault. Tairu 2.0 tells her, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. Then we find Salif on one of his mysterious phone calls, and he's telling the person that, you know what, we did it. I actually have a little bonus on the side. Nobody is going to find out. Of course, Birame explodes because little did Salif know he was hearing him make that phone call. So Birame explodes and attacks Salif and tells him that, you know what, I know it is you, but what is it? Salif is like, what are you talking about? Tells him that, you know what, I heard you talk about this. Do you think I'm stupid? Salif applauds and laughs. He is basically admitting to Birame that it was him. However, he cannot prove it. Therefore, he does not have anything on Salif. And Birame is like, I swear on the life of my mom, if you really want to provoke me, you will have what you deserve. Salif is still kind of arrogant, and he's like, you have to think, Birame, think about how I could have done this. And when Salif says that, Birame already knows, because it could have only gone through Mansoura. And we see a scene in which Rocky is walking home with one of her colleagues. And when she's at the stop where Mustafa is supposed to pick her up, Amidou suddenly pulls up and he's actually offering to bring her home. However, Rocky refuses and tells him that she is waiting for Mustafa. Then Rocky continues to tell him that, you know what, this is all my fault. I should never have invited you over at night at my house to talk and everything. And she tells him that, you know what, I never should have done that and I just want to stop. But Amidou is like, I never should have let you be with Mustafa. But she's also like, but he's my husband. And then he calls her Linda, but she's like, no, my name is Rocky. Rocky also tells Amidou firmly that she and Mustafa have decided to, move on good terms. Amidou is like, yeah, but Mustafa cannot be trusted as he is seeing other women behind your back. So you were behind the pictures? Mustafa already said that, but I did not want to believe him. So Amidou is insisting, but Rocky finally screams, and then he's like threatening her because he grabs her by the arm very hard. So she screams and he takes off. Then we see the scene between Mansoura and Birame. And Mansoura is offering to bring Birame home so that she can drive him and he can just relax in the car. However, Birame is quite mad and you can see that. So she is telling him that, you know what, you should actually just, give yourself over to Salif. Then she continues to talk about this other plan she has, which is to bring him home, give him a massage so he can relax and everything. And all of a sudden, Birame asks her like, why didn't you warn me? But Mansoura's like, warn you about what? Birame continues, I trusted you. I gave you my heart. I gave you my everything. I believed in you. I thought you were the one that would make sure that I would progress professionally and personally. Then Mansoura understands because she's like, Salif forced me. But Birame is like, and yet you still had no consideration for me. Then Birame stands up and tells Mansoura that he wants two things. First of all, he wants proof that it was Salif, and then he asks for her resignation letter. He does not want to see her anymore, not hear from her anymore, and not have anything to do with her. Then we see Amsa and Birame on a walk. She is telling him that, you know what, if you told me it was Mansoura, I would never have believed you. Then Birame uses this expression in Wolof called niet de lundum. A person is dark, but what they mean by that is that people have secrets and you can never know people completely. Then Birame proposes for Amsa to talk about them. And the first thing Amsa says is, oh, you want to talk about the kids? But Birame doesn't understand and he asks about that. And Amsa explains that, no, I mean, whenever I thought about you and Jalika, I thought that you two would always end up together because of the children. She even admits that whenever he talked about Jalika, that her heart would get really hot and that she'd be kind of jealous. And that is when she knew that she loved Birame. Birame's response is to say, so the deal of Mère Diagne and Pa Gay was settled. And Amsa's like, so what do you want to say by that? And then Birame starts his speech. He's like, from the beginning, we did not like each other, but we went that far that, today we like each other and we're even, friends. And all the women I left behind, and you were the only one left. I should have known from the start. And I want you to know that everything I look for in a woman, you have it. And he ends by saying that he wants to be with Amsa. So then they walk hand in hand. Then we see a scene where Mère Diagne is sleeping on the couch and Amsa is walking into the living room, and she actually wakes Mère Diagne to ask her why she's not going to sleep in her bed. And Mère Diagne tells her that, you know what, Amsa, I am so confused. And Amsa's like, confused about what? My uncle is here. You should be, at peace. And Mère Diagne says, if it was only your uncle, I would have been in eternal peace. But, Sheikh is God knows where, and Birame, he is following Jalika until he is lost. And then Amsa's like, Birame is no longer lost, ma'am. And she's like, what do you want to say by that? Amsa's like, ease your mind, Mère Diagne, because I have Birame now. And then she explains that they are together, but Mère Diagne does not believe it. And Amsa's like, yes, Mère Diagne. And at the end, Mère Diagne is thanking God and blessing a fruitful marriage. Then we see Mustafa and Rocky, and they're on a night walk, and Mustafa tells her that, you know, it is nice that we're doing this. However, I've noticed that since I picked you up, you haven't spoken that much. So she starts to talk about what happened with Amidou. And the first reaction that Mustafa has is like, okay, so where does he live? Because we need to make sure this is not going to happen anymore. Rocky's like, you know what? Let it go. And then they talk about how they should actually thank Amidou because they have been through so much. They fought, they discussed, argued so much in their marriage. Now they kind of feel as if nothing can break them up anymore. That was it for episode 31 of Maîtresse d'un homme marié. I want to thank you for watching. If I have missed anything, you will be able to read it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.